Cities are exploding in growth all across the world, and the church is not moving into the cities as fast as the world is.
As leaders convene globally to discuss the social and spiritual flourishing of cities around the world, the probing question in every conversation is, how can we accelerate the impact of Christianity in our city?
If the city is going to be impacted, it's going to be impacted because of the presence of senior marketplace leaders in their city. If Christianity is going to grow as a movement, it will happen because senior marketplace leaders have invested themselves in the welfare of their city and in the next generation.
My generation, 7 out of 10 aren't even going to church. This generation doesn't want to just show up to church. They want to be the church. And so to take their faith from Sunday to Monday.
If you look at the ecosystem of the city, central to that ecosystem are marketplace leaders. Because oftentimes it's the marketplace leaders that are more influential than even governments in many cities around the world. So if we're going to create movements, people moving together for the sake of the city within the context of global cities, marketplace leaders are going to be key to that conversation.
Senior Christian marketplace leaders are more culturally influential now than pastors of churches, than nonprofit leaders, even than government leaders. And if we are going to reach the cities of the world, a global alliance of senior Christian marketplace leaders is necessary.
As we look at Movement Day growing rapidly around the world, starting in New York and then going to Dallas and then going to places like Charlotte and Philadelphia and London and Dubai and Chennai, India and Hong Kong, we have seen the critical role of marketplace leaders in each of these cities. We've seen marketplace leaders in Charlotte invest in a community of poverty to attract $40 million in capital to create a future for young people in that city. We've seen marketplace leaders in the city of Dubai who have attracted the involvement of the royal family. And for the first time in 40 years, the royal family has acknowledged the impact of the church on the city. We have seen marketplace leaders in cities like New York begin to bring their expertise to address poverty in our 10 poor zip codes.
Sometimes as marketplace leaders, we often struggle with thinking about sort of what our higher purpose is and whether we actually are fulfilling that relative to maybe church leaders, nonprofit leaders who sort of maybe work full-time in supportive ministry. But I think there's an equally important role for marketplace leaders to fulfill. And I really feel like on a personal level, it's my destiny to be a marketplace leader.
Marketplace leaders have credibility and strategic acumen that typically nonprofit leaders do not have, that allow a movement to flourish. Marketplace leaders bring credibility to the conversation that attracts people from the civic space, including mayors and governors, and it compels people to think about their city in a very critical way.
The role business leaders play within the context of our cities is they are creating the businesses that are not only employing and financing people, but they are creating the businesses and the platforms that determines how people live. If we can influence these key business leaders within the context of the city, we can change everything about that city.
How can a movement of leaders impact your city?